information about a vacancy. Secondly, we are saying that Mmusi Maimane has effectively made the case for administration when he himself put the city under administration and he came in to act as the mayor and the municipal manager through the water crisis. And he's made the case for administration at that point. And what we are seeing is the conflation of party and state and the remote control of deployees within the city and moving them around like checkers pieces on a board. This has led, the internal crisis of the DA has resulted in an external crisis for the people of Cape Town, and therefore it has to be resolved, and the way in which the ANC in the Western Cape is saying it can be resolved is to do what Mmusi Maimane has done, put them under administration, but this time by the national government, because of the impending danger in the budget, as Comrade Faiz had said, because of the evidence of under-expenditure, when people are fighting each other in Scottsdene, in Kanini, in Sikalo and Mitchell's Plain and Vrygrond. If they're fighting each other over services and you don't spend 2.1 billion for services, you don't deserve to be the government of Cape Town. And therefore I think ultimately what the DA has done, besides imploding themselves, they have exploded the myth that where they govern, there is the best run city and the best run province. They have proven that that is certainly not the case, and therefore we are ready to do the hard work of regaining the trust of the people of the Western Cape, but we think that we need to do that with a city that does not endanger their lives fundamentally as it has been done so far. We are open for some questions from your side. I don't know many of you, so please say who you are and then...
Thank you. Rebecca from Daily Maverick. Just two quick questions. Last weekend, the Sunday newspaper reported that when Cyril Ramaphosa came to Cape Town to walk from Handley to Athlone, he held meetings on that day with both Patricia de Lille and Leonard Max in the hope of persuading them to join the ANC. Do you have any comment on that? And my second question is for Kolani. When you say that the DA publicized restricted info about the city of Cape Town without permission, could you clarify what information you're talking about? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask Faiz, I think who walked with President Ramaphosa, whether he saw any such meeting take place, and then I'll ask Kolani to respond directly to that question. But let's keep it short and sharp.
Just, we walked actually from Guguletu to Athlone, and we welcome everybody to walk with the President. We didn't see Patricia de Lille.
Sorry, the meetings were not on the walk, they were just on the same day.
No. I mean, the President immediately after the walk went into a cabinet meeting. According to our knowledge, there was no such meeting.
But I do want to not allow an assumption to take place that what is happening is as a result of the President meeting anyone. We are not in the business of enticing anyone to the ANC, because we are in the business of ensuring stable, good governance in the city, and it would not help our cause if there was a walkover from the mayor to the ANC. She has a job, and she must be allowed to do that job.
Well, the restricted information that I'm talking about, you are aware that the city of Cape Town appointed a company to investigate the maladministration and corruption within the city. It is referred to the Bowman report. And this is the information that I'm talking about, that Mmusi was not privy to that information. After numerous calls were made to him by certain journalists to find out how did he get the access to the information, till to date, he has not told the people of Cape Town how he got that information. That was the confidential information only for councillors in the city of Cape Town, nobody else. And that's why I was saying that National must investigate this, because you can't allow thieves to investigate themselves.
Thank you very much. I see a second and a third and a fourth hand.
Mr. Assault, just I can simply from the Cape Town in relation to the question that Baker asked about the mayor. Surely we know that the mayor brings a lot of credibility, and she's a struggle hero, if I can call it that. Is the ANC not trying to entice her? Because number one, if the elections comes next year and she is part of the ANC, she would do some serious damage to the DA. I mean, no one can dispute that. No, not even you yourself sitting there can dispute it. Surely there must be some sort of meetings going on to try and entice Mr. Low to come over. Because if I was in your position, that is exactly what I would have done.
Maybe we are not opportunists.
I'm Malata from Netwerk vir die Vryheid van die Burger. I wanted to hear Mr. Satoshi mention the possibility of making charges or complaints against Mr. Maimane. What kind of charges would you be looking at? Would it be criminal or against him as an LP or MP?
Thank you very much. I saw number.
Monique Mortlock from Eyewitness News. Mr. Jacobs said that the ANC would be in support of a secret ballot when council sits to elect a new mayor. Does the ANC have a specific candidate in mind or a suitable candidate to be the next Cape Town mayor?
Yeah. Okay. Is there another hand?
Paul Herman from News 24. I'd just like to ask, in the ANC's mind, who then is currently mayor of the city? Is it all pending the supposed ruling of the urgent court matter on Friday?
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll respond from the side. You want to?
Yeah.
When in doubt, keep left.
Well, the ANC does not entice. The people join the African National Congress voluntarily because of the supremacy of its ideas and policies. And I think that's why in the articulation of our non-racial policy, we have seen South Africans across, particularly white Democrats who in the past decided to join the ANC based on the articulation of the policy of non-racialism, which is founded both in the struggle and in death. So it won't entice anybody, but of course, she's an elderly. She's got a right to join and make a choice politically, or whether she want to join the African National Congress on the basis of the supremacy of the policies, whether ideologically and politically. She can associate herself with the African National Congress, but we haven't, as the African National Congress, met and discussed with her that she must come to the African. She will make that decision voluntarily. We are in a business as mandated in terms of the strategic objective of the ANC. And if in the pursuit of that objective, she thinks that she's got a role to play, of course, anybody is welcome to join the African National Congress.
But we will not make the mistake of making the case for the DA that she is in conversation with us, because she is not. They want such an admission in order to strengthen their coup d'etat that they are busy with.
Okay, as a secretary, I always welcome any membership forms who abide by our constitutional principles. We want to grow the organization.
He's desperate for every 20 rand.
On a lighter note, I think, let me respond to the secret ballot. I think what we are seeing now is that there's a lot of bullying and intimidation tactics that's happening in the city of Cape Town. We want to ensure that there's constitutionality and people vote with their conscience. So I think that's why we support this process, because we want the prevention of bullying around this thing. I think there is a popular mandate in the city of Cape Town, and like we say, we don't want this thing to be factionalized or racialized. We need good governance there, and so the city representatives must have their voice to articulate the views that they have.
Satosh?
Well, the case against Musi, I mean, as I indicated earlier, that he's in possession of confidential information. So the case that we are going to lay against him, it's a Management of Information Act. Because he has violated that, so the courts must be able to really make a decision on that.
Can I just add to the issue of secret ballot? The secret ballot is not for the election of a mayor. The secret ballot is if the DA is really intent on getting rid of Patricia de Lille, you can't use the DA constitution, use the South African constitution. Secondly, the South African constitution says you've lost confidence in your cadre. Now come and test it with the people who elected her in the first place, which are the representatives of the people in council. Bring it there. Now we know that they faced a reverse already. They are afraid of that. That's why they want to find a route to get rid of Patricia de Lille without referring it to council. And key to that is the secret ballot. So it is not that we want to elect a new mayor, because there is a mayor in place. As far as we are concerned, Patricia de Lille is the mayor of Cape Town until the IEC declares otherwise. There is no election for a new mayor, but if you want to get rid of the existing one, come there, put a secret ballot in place, and cast a vote of no confidence, and then we will see, and that's the political work that the ANC will do in defense of good governance, the rule of law, and constitutionality. That must be applied. You can't have a party diktat based on one amendment to your constitution to use us to do your dirty work. We may have our problems with Patricia de Lille, but we will deal with it in time and in constitutional ways. Are there a last round of questions? Okay, Paul, you'll be second because you've had a bite at it.
Yes, Anil Nayak for Sony Spain. Just maybe Comrade Sotash can answer this one. I'm just concerned about service delivery. Is there any tangible evidence at this present moment as to how service delivery, this whole thing is happening within the ANC fighting, is affecting service delivery on the ground? Thank you.
Paul?
Just one question. We mentioned the DA's recall clause, but in the end, that actually wasn't even the clause they used to remove her. They used some other clause which supposedly said something on a radio interview that she would be resigning. Does the ANC have any comment on that issue? You know, the actual recall clause wasn't even used. This could be a party matter, but just your thoughts on that clause.
Sotash?
Yeah, no, look, I'm glad that you call me a comrade. Look, I mean, I was with you in Khayelitsha. I mean, this is a classic example. I was with you in Khayelitsha where 8 people lost their lives. Did you see the city of Cape Town there? They were not there. People were not there. I mean, officials that's supposed to be helping those families that have experienced the fires there. So we had to chip in. As we speak now, the officials in the city of Cape Town are confused who to report to. And the second clear example is the issue of Isikalo. There was a fight between Mitchell's Plain people and Isikalo people. Did you see the city of Cape Town there? They were not there. We had to chip in. The issue of service delivery is being compromised by instability in the city of Cape Town. So you don't have to do all these things in order for you to be placed under administration. Once you do one of it that have a serious negative impact on the service delivery, then national government must chip in and really provide a leadership. I mean, the issue of the refuse removal, we had to instruct the city manager to give instruction to EDs so that the refuse can be removed in the Helderberg area. You go there and then you see the canals. They are filthy, they are blocked. So this issue of the two-tailed city is coming to the fore now. People didn't want to believe, but it is there now. You saw what you saw in Khayelitsha. You saw what you saw in the Helderberg. You saw what you saw in Mitchell's Plain. So this whole issue of instability is really affecting the service delivery. And there is a serious uncertainty within the administration in terms of the staff itself, because the mood is really affected. People are not geared up to bring services to our people. Thanks.
Maybe if I can just also add, there's a service delivery crisis and a governance crisis in the city of Cape Town. And I think we've picked it up. 1.2 billion rand that was not spent, that was meant for infrastructure development, that was meant for overcrowding, that was meant to deal with informal settlement, that was meant for services, have not been spent. That is a crime. Because national government has given money allocated to the city. It's not as if the city don't have informal settlements. We have more than 400 informal settlements. What's the plan for that? Now, if a city who's claimed to have good governance would take the people, would take the overcrowding of Heideveld or the informal settlements of our township, if they would have implemented the plan, that 2.1 billion has been spent. But they're not focusing on dealing with the service problems. They're focusing on the internal factional politics that they have. They're not dealing with the governance that we have. So we're seeing our communities despair, and what you had, the sporadic incidents of service delivery protests, whether it's at Vrygrond, whether it's at Carlo, whether it's in Scottsdale, whether it's in Guguletu, people are angry, people are frustrated, and there's a sense of despair and hopelessness because there's no political leadership. There's no administrative leadership, there's no plans. Instead, they have the audacity to exacerbate the tariffs, they increase the tariffs. So they collect more and more money from the poor, predominantly poor, but there's no plan to deal with the service delivery because of this factional fighting. I think it's very clear everywhere we go, we as the ANC have to do firefighting. We not in government, we effective opposition. The water mismanagement is a classical example. They knew they had to have water plans for a long time. Instead of dealing with the issues up front, they're looking at creating an economic benefit for themselves through the desalination plant. There was no plan. And now again, because of their ineptitude, we as the people of Cape Town have to double. We have to pay more now because of our saving and because of their incompetence.
Just in addition on what Comrade Faiz has said, I mean now our financial year ends next month on the 30th of June. As we speak now, on top of 175 million rand that has been brought back to Treasury, and Treasury had to reallocate those funds to performing municipalities on urban settlement development grant, there is an available 780 million rands that must be spent between now and the 30th of June. Tell me, if you couldn't spend that 780 million rand in the past 9 months, how on earth you are going to spend it within a few weeks? So this is a crisis that you are having in the city of Cape Town. And there is a trend of underspending on capital projects. And AG also has raised that particular concern with the city of Cape Town.
On the clauses, I think that the DA is clutching at straws. They are looking for anything that will solve the internal problem. They created the Delil clause. They then realized maybe if we use the Delil clause, we must go through the council. We can't afford that because we lost the vote the last time. If we use ordinary disciplinary actions, then maybe the litany of allegations we make in a public disciplinary will implode the idea that we are the best governed city and will expose us as corrupt and ineffective. So let's close the DC because we can't afford that. And so now they've used another clause that she supposedly said something on radio. She effectively self-resigned, and now all we need to do is to get her out of the office. All they need at this moment is not any clause in their constitution. They need Santa Claus to deliver peace for them in their municipalities. That really is the only salvation for the DA at this moment. But I want to give the final word to Zizi Kodwa, and then I think we can all get on and not give you too much editing.
I think we shouldn't allow a situation where we compromise service delivery, good governance, because there's a party that is mutilating itself somewhere. It's mutilating itself unprovoked into pieces. And I think we shouldn't allow that. The African National Congress has got a responsibility given by the people of this country since 1994 to make sure that it governs with loyalty, with trust. And I think whatever would have happened in the past, we should, the African National Congress, remain that hope to the millions of people of Cape Town, to the millions of people of Western Cape. And therefore, let's allow DA to mutilate itself outside, not use our government, the city itself, to make sure that it damages the prospects of poor people who are looking up to a democratically elected local government and provincial and national government for their better future. And I think for today, it's a lesson, particularly for DA, that the false impression they've created all along for the longest time about themselves is coming back to haunt them. The very strong conservative right wing, it is strongly consolidating against what they've been displaced for a very long time. And I think they are fighting for what I said earlier. The right-wing conservative, they are fighting what is called theirs, because they've been displaced for a very long time by imposition of leaders above those, according to them, who do not deserve to be leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, that concludes the African National Congress in the Western Cape, their press briefing to address the media on the sacking of Patricia de Lille as member of the Democratic Alliance. A lot of questions around who will now take that position, or who is currently the mayor of the Western Cape, and the ANC in the Western Cape stating that they are ready to do the hard work to again regain the trust of the city of Cape Town. Questions being asked during that question and answer session around who the ANC's candidate for mayor would be, and also who is currently the mayor of the city of Cape Town.
And of course, former Premier of the Western Cape, Ibrahim Rasool, essentially saying that the honeymoon is over for the Democratic Alliance. We heard Zizi Kodwa, as part of the National Working Committee, also saying that the opposition, or rather the leaders in the Western Cape, the Democratic Alliance, have essentially mutilated itself, and the ANC will not participate in that particular political football, that they will allow the Democratic Alliance to weaken internally. We know, of course, this is in the backdrop of Patricia de Lille, mayor of Cape Town's future really hanging in the balance. By all accounts, it seems that she has been ousted from that party. So what is the African National Congress going to do in the Western Cape? Judging by the presser today from the National Working Committee, it seems that they've now hit the ground running in also capitalizing or leveraging on the weaknesses of the Democratic Alliance. One glaring observation, of course, is the fact that what does this mean for the image that the Democratic Alliance has been, or the narrative that they've been purporting, saying that wherever the DA governs, those municipalities are run very well and successfully, but the internal squabbles in the party is also lent it to criticism.